Hi guys, welcome back. So I just want really quickly to thank you guys for all the love that I got from the very first video, because that was real love. From the personal text messages to just people writing me, like, I love y'all. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share this video. We are on to episode number 3. We already in there. Let's go. So today's topic is something that I am near and dear to. Today's topic is, as you see, dating with a child or children. Me personally, everybody knows I have a son. He's 9, and dating whilst having him is difficult. If I could be honest. It is difficult for many reasons, and of course we're gonna get into it. But like I said, I have a 9-year-old, and dating for me it's like, for me to go out, I can't. It gotta be mad planned out. Like, before I had a kid, it was spontaneous. I could go wherever I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted, with who I wanted. I didn't have to worry about anything. And now, you have a child with somebody, whatever the case may be, you guys don't work out, so like, you were dating that person at the time, so it's like, we could just take our kid with us. We're dating the person we had the kid with. We could go on a date together. It's fine. Well, you guys don't work out, and now it's time to go out in the dating scene. It's like, you have to think about finding a sitter, somebody who's willing to take your kid for the day, because dates aren't like 1 or 2 hours, 4, 5, 6 hours. Sometimes it's the full day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now you have to find a sitter. You have to make sure that sitter is absolutely available, even down to the day before. You got to be like, are you sure? Then you have to make sure that the date that you chose is a date that that babysitter is available for. Like, it's so much work. Then you have to consider, like, what if the babysitter backs out randomly? What do you do? It's so much just to date nowadays, especially if you have a child. When it comes to dating with a kid now, I think it's like, I think of every possible outcome. Like, what happens if my babysitter backs out? What happens if dad doesn't come? What happens if? Because for me, my personal experience, it used to be, my son would go with his dad every other weekend. So I can plan based off of that. Now that that's not the case, I have to make sure that my babysitter isn't at work or doesn't have their own weekend plans. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has weekend plans. And it's like, if those are not things that are happening, like, if those are not talked about, the date's over. And the date's over. Like, if I'm dating, my very first question is, how do you feel about dealing with someone with a child? Because especially if you're dating someone that doesn't have a kid, like, when you're dating someone with a child, I'm not saying it's easier, but they understand where you're coming from. They understand, like, okay, planning and, how it goes. Now, you're dating someone without a child, those people are spontaneous. Like, they can get up and go anywhere they want at any point of the day without having to have someone that they're responsible for. So for me, if you can't bang with that, I'd rather get it out the way, like, immediately, before, I don't want to say waste my time, but waste my time and yours, like, because but there's also people that be like, oh, nah, I'm cool with you having a kid, da 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 da. And then when you can't be spontaneous like they can be spontaneous, it starts to become annoying. It starts to become a burden because it's like, okay, I really like her, but she has no way to go out. But here's this other person who has all the free time in the world. Who you choosing? And I'd rather somebody just be honest and be like, listen, this ain't it. This is not what I thought it was. I just don't want to be invested in somebody who doesn't understand that I can't be who I used to be. Now, when it comes to dating someone with a child, like somebody told me like, oh, when you're dating somebody with a child, you guys could do like dates with the kids. And it's like, that comes later on. Like, that comes later on. But when we first trying to get to know each other and dating and going out, like, if they don't have their kid, but you do, especially being the mom, let's be clear, especially being the mom, when you're the mom in this dating situation, you always have the kid. Like, you always have your kid. It's a rare, or not, I don't want to say rare, but it's not, your dad don't always got you. Your dad don't always pick you up. So it's like, I always have the kid. You always gonna have the child. So now the guy that you're dating who gets their kid every weekend, every other weekend, he still has some spontaneous moments in his life where he can do random things. And then you're like, I can't this weekend. Oh, I can't. Oh, oh, the babysitter. Oh, the dad. Oh, the. So it really is hard, especially for a woman, to date with having a kid. And then when you do finally get that babysitter, you do finally go on that date, it's like, okay, I want to do more of this, but it's gonna have to be pre-planned. I remember when I first became like single, and I was no longer dating my son's father. There was this guy, he used to come to my job all the time, and he would just talk to the females, and he was a little young and dumb, so he just would say stupid stuff. And he said this to me one day, and it stuck, and I was like, I might be like stuck forever. Like, I might not actually get a boyfriend. He was like, you might as well go back. He said, you might as well go back to your son's father, because ain't no man dating no girl with no child. And I was like, well defended, because what you mean? But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, yo, I can't do what a person with no kid can do. Like, if you don't tell me wild in advance, it's not happening. Like, I would love to get up and just dip. I can't do that no more. My kid is not old enough to do that yet. But when I have the time, even when I have the time, I'm tired. So I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do nothing. I want to sleep. I want to be able to like just chill and not nobody tapping me, being like, Mom, I want, Mom, I need, Mom, can you? So it's hard, but it's like that stuck with me. So for a very long time, I wouldn't date anybody because I'm like, don't nobody want you. Nobody want to date nobody with a kid. Like, that stuck. And he was young and dumb, but that shit stuck on my brain for so long because I really believed that at one point. And then I started dating. And that was like the first thing, like out the gate. Yo, I got a son. And like, oh, nah, it's cool. And so far, I haven't met anybody that's done dumbness like, oh, I don't want to date her because she got a kid. I haven't met that yet. And I think now it's because everybody's older and everybody understands that somebody at least has one kid. It's like, it's more rare now that somebody doesn't have a child. So people are more understanding. But the ones that don't understand, like, I make sure that I put that out there immediately. Like, immediately. Then here's the hard part, right? Well, what I think is the hard part, which is you are now successfully dating, right? You're now with someone who has a child. You are a female or male with someone who has a child. Now it's time to meet the child. And then the question becomes, when do you even get a chance? When do you meet them? What's the process? Like, what's the length? How long do we have to date until you're comfortable with your child meeting your significant other? Like, I've heard people say 6 months. I've heard people say a year. I think I did it, I want to say 2.5 years in, it happened. But my situation is completely different. Like, so, but I've seen people do it within 6 months, a year or so, just to see like where it goes. Now then, it's like, okay, we've been together for this long, we've built this bond. You meet my child don't like you, then what? Then what? Because I'm telling you now, if we vibe, but my kid don't vibe with you, you gotta go. You have to. You gotta leave. Because I'm not gonna make my baby uncomfortable. And then it's like, now he don't like you, and I gotta figure out how we can coexist. No. I haven't had that happen. But that is a fear of mine. I said something earlier, and I'm gonna take it back. I said the hardest part was meeting the child. I don't think that's the hardest part. I think the hardest part is dating somebody for so long, getting so close to the child, and then y'all breaking up. It's not a regular breakup. Like, it's not a regular breakup. You now, all right. Let's just say, let's do guy and girl, because, like, it's easier for me because I'm a girl. You're dating me, right? I have a child. And now you have grown this amazing bond with my child. So not only are you leaving me, or we're breaking up, we're not working out, we're not coexisting, you have to now also lose another bond with a whole other person that had nothing to do with why the adults couldn't work. And it confuses the child, because like, you were around like a lot, and now you're just no longer around. And then that kid is gonna ask, because kids are human, they miss people. And it's like, well, where's so and so? And now you have to explain to them why they're no longer around. And then, okay, you're a human, right? So you start to miss your little human. You're this person that you built a bond with, you start to miss them. And it's like, damn, I don't want to hit that person up, because I do miss her, but I really miss my dog, my little bro. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's also, especially if you really, really care, like, I think that might be the hardest part. So I'll take back meeting the kids being hard. I'm not going to say meeting the kid isn't hard, but it's not the hardest thing when it comes down to dating somebody with a child. Like, I think building the bond with the child, and then you and that child not being able to coexist anymore, I think that might be the hardest part. But it happens, and it happens way more often than we're willing to accept. And that's just like the sucky part about it. But I would say you just gotta that's something you gotta be prepared for. That's it, honestly. So, like, smidget backstory on me. I have 4 parents. Like, my parents didn't work. They wound up getting separate partners, and now those partners that they separated and went to, they are married to them now. But I've known my stepfather since I was 2, and I've known my stepmom like when I was 7. So I had them pretty young. And I've asked them, because, I had situations where people were confused about me speaking on being like a single parent and like things like that. So it's like, when they were dating my parents, I was like, okay, when you were dating, like, I asked my dad, when you were dating mom, like, how did that go? Like, what was that process? And he was like, when your mom had the time, I took her out. But because I liked your mom so much, I had patience. So I was willing to wait. And I'm like, damn, I don't think it's too many people that got patience. But They wind up working out, which is good because whoop whoop. But it was like I see that, like I get that, and he didn't have a child like at the time. You know, they had their kids, but like he didn't have a kid, so he was like really dealing with somebody that had a 1 year old. Like I was one when they met, I was two when they got together, like officially. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I I commended him for it, but it's like, damn, what if that wouldn't have worked? And then like for my stepmom was different. My stepmom already had two boys. So it was like, okay, now my dad has to, one, get along with her two boys. She got to get along with me. And then me and the boys got to get along together. Like it was a bigger thing, but they wound up making it work. Like because she understood that, you know, you may not have all the free time. Now, the crazy part about it with my dad, like he had mad free time because I wasn't living in the States. So I only came in the summertime. So he had all the time in the world, but he had to deal with somebody who didn't have the time because she had two kids going to school. So he had to like really deal with and get his time in when he could. He used to meet her in the library, y'all. He was cute. He was cute. I'll give him that. But you know what I'm saying? Like he was persistent and he really wanted it, so he stuck with it. It's not too many people that do that. So it's like, I don't know. Dating with a kid got its little perks, but it got its downfalls too. I only had to do this once, but I've heard like stories of people like letting their child meet their new significant other, and it's awkward. It's awkward now. It's awkward. Um, it's not really a thing now. I don't think. Like I don't think it's too often that it happens. When it did happen, I just had two rules, like I said, which was don't touch his hair, and if you're gonna discipline him, tell his father. Let his father do his fatherly duty. Like you don't put your hand on my kid. But like I don't think that's something that happens nowadays. Like that was always a fear of mine too. Dating somebody with a child was like, would I have to meet the mom? Would I have to sit down and talk with the mom? And how would that conversation go? Because there are some people that, like I said, could be mature in a conversation. And then there's people like, you're not their mom. I'm their mom. So, and it's like, I ain't trying to be nobody else's mama besides my own child. Now, I can love your kid like he's my child, like she's my child, but I'm not their mama. And vice versa, where it's like, that's my son, that's my daughter. So like that's why I respect my mom and my stepmom so much, because they had a bigger picture. They knew the bigger picture, and the bigger picture was, we got this little girl together, we love her together, so let's love her up and raise her together. Which is why I'm the way I am now, because I had two people from two separate backgrounds really shaping me to be the woman I am today. But it come with, like, all of this stuff come with dating somebody. So it's understanding that they don't have the time, understanding that you have to plan that shit out and give them a chance to get their things in order. And then it's like, all right, now I gotta meet the kid. It's a very huge possibility I gotta meet that kid's parent, which, like I said, it probably ain't something that happens nowadays. But if it does happen, just be prepared for whatever. Be prepared for however they decide to respond towards you. And not everybody is lucky to be able to have parents and step parents that get along the first time. Like, like it's rare, but it happens. But you have to be prepared for that. You also have to be prepared for the fact that if you guys break up, you no longer get to rock with that kid. There are people that still let their ex come around. Me personally, I wouldn't do that, because like I said, that comes with the person possibly thinking they can get back with you, your kid like wanting them around more often. I just feel like it just brings in too much confusion. So I feel like if we break up and we're like dead ass not getting back together, go on ahead with yourself. Gone. But it's hard. So I'm not even gonna sit there and make it seem like it's mad easy, because it's not. So I'll say this. If you're gonna date somebody with a child, give them grace. Understand that they cannot do what you can do. They just can't jump up and go. So understand that things have to be planned out. Things have to be talked about. And try not to change randomly if you do have a plan. Like, that's my only advice. And for us as parents, be okay with somebody not wanting to date you because you have a child. Like, that's okay. They have their reasons. And even if you don't agree, don't try to convince them why they should. Like, there's somebody that's perfectly fine with it. Like, but if you're not ready for that, I say back off. Because don't put yourself in something that you're not even ready for. Because you don't realize how much people you could hurt by playing around. So if you're not ready for what comes with dating somebody with a child, just don't do it. Just don't do it.